Okay, let's just jump right in. We've all felt it, right? That that low-grade hum of modern anxiety.
Oh, yeah.
It's this constant information overload. You feel like you have all the facts in the world, but
Yeah.
somehow no real direction.
And that's exactly the void that the source material you shared is trying to fill.
Right.
We're doing a deep dive into an ancient practice, Gayatri Upasana and the Gayatri Mantra. And it's presented as, well, not just a ritual, but a whole system to fix a broken intellect.
So our mission today is really to unpack these big, complex ideas, things like prajna
Which is that deep wisdom, yeah.
and atmabal, inner strength. We want to see how a practice this old can, offer a kind of shortcut to clarity in the 21st century.
Well, to start, you have to get the basic architecture. It's really defined by a duality. You have Gayatri itself, which is described as the Sukshma Shakti.
The subtle power.
Exactly. And its whole job, its only job, is to attract prajna. So that's superior wisdom, sharp intellect, foresight, all of that. But it's not just internal. It has a counterpart.
The physical power.
That's it. The Stula Shakti, or gross power. It's called Savitri, and it's tied directly to the sun, to Surya Upasana.
So the sun provides the energy.
It's Savitri, yeah. To ignite the wisdom, the Gayatri. You need both. Without the subtle and the gross, the transformation just doesn't happen.
So it's not just about having the idea, the illumination. It's about having the raw energy to make that idea real,
Yeah.
to turn it into action. So what's the payoff for you, the listener?
The promise is pretty radical. The sources claim it leads to material prosperity in the Bhautik Kshetra, basically because you just stop making so many mistakes.
That makes sense.
But more importantly, it's about the flow of divinity, Devatva. For a modern person, this just means achieving a kind of ethical consistency, speed of insight, and the supreme inner strength. You're not just learning things, you're building the ability to act on what you know without fear.
True wealth isn't just money. It's the ability to consistently make good decisions that build stability. Okay, let's dig into that wisdom, Prajna, a bit more. We tend to think of wisdom as just, knowing a lot of stuff, high IQ. But the sources seem to describe something much more active.
It is. It's very different. High intelligence is about processing data you already have. Prajna is about predicting outcomes. The material says it gives you three core abilities.
Okay.
First is foresight, Durardarshita, so seeing consequences before they happen. Second is discernment, Vivekshilata, which is just being able to weigh your options with real clarity.
And the third.
And this is the most critical one. It's the ability to actually choose and then walk the right path, the Sanmarga.
I noticed in the text there's a reference to an old scholar's view that Gayatri is like Kamadhenu, the wish-fulfilling cow.
Right.
Now, that sounds a little magical. It might make a modern person a bit skeptical. So what's the psychological explanation for that?
That's a great question. It's not magic, it's alignment. When you have prajna, your vision is so clear and your choices are so disciplined that you just naturally sidestep the errors and bad compromises that trip most people up.
So you get what you want because you're not getting in your own way.
You're not getting your own way. Your intention and your execution are perfectly aligned with how things actually are. And that clarity, that's the source of Atmabal, spiritual power.
So true strength comes from predictive clarity, not just force.
Yes.
And to build that, the tradition has this very specific architecture. The Chatushpadi, the four-footed aspect. What are these four foundations?
They structure the whole thing. The first foot is purely intellectual. It's the seat of all knowledge, standing for the four Vedas, the informational base.
Then the second foot is energy, biology. It connects everything to the physical world.
Yeah.
The sun's energy, Surya Katej, and the life force, Pranavayu.
Correct. The third foot then expands outward to the entire cosmos, the Vishva Brahmanda. It suggests the practice isn't just in your head, it taps into something universal.
Which brings us to the fourth, the output, I guess. Vedic knowledge, Veda Vidya, but combined with Pranashakti, life power.
And when you bring all four of those together, that's when the transformation kicks in. The practice starts to install sadbuddhi, good sense, and crucially, ritamvara.
Truth-bearing consciousness.
Exactly. It means the truth isn't just something you know, it's something you embody. It becomes actionable.
Speaking of action, the core of this is the chanting, the japa.
Yeah.
This is where the inner alchemy is supposed to happen, the atmic kaya kalpa.
The spiritual renewal. Yeah.
For someone who just feels like their mind is full of clutter, what does that renewal actually feel like? Is it a sudden lightning bolt, or is it more like, I don't know, modern therapy, a slow step-by-step cleaning?
The sources suggest it's definitely iterative, slow and steady, but the end result can feel dramatic. The first step is purification. The text is clear about this. It's about removing all the vices, the vikars, from your heart. And at the same time, you're increasing the sadhaguni, or virtuous elements. So think of it less like a flash of insight and more like you're consistently using a kind of spiritual cleaning agent.
That sounds demanding. What's the practical result of all that internal cleaning?
Well, it gets rid of the suffering that comes from just ignorance. Plain and simple.
Mhm.
Once the mind is clear, you get this unshakable composure, samyabhav.
And in your daily life?
In daily life, you get atmabal, the world's greatest strength. It lets you face anything, a market crash, a personal crisis, any practical paresthesian with total equilibrium. Your emotional center just doesn't get knocked over easily.
I see. So the biggest win is buddhi shuddhi, a purified intellect, because that's what guarantees you'll act appropriately and stay calm no matter what's happening outside.
That's it, exactly. The goal isn't to escape the world. It's to cultivate true humanity by making sure your entire thought process is always pointed toward the right path, the Sanmarga. And this brings us right to why this matters now. The source material is very direct about this. Ancient rishis set this up for universal welfare. But the text is really, really concerned with our specific moment in history.
And it points out we aren't facing the usual historical problems. There isn't a huge famine. We don't have, a raison at the gates. So if the external threats are sort of managed, what's the new enemy? Why do we need this kind of deep spiritual work?
It identifies a new disaster, a more pervasive one that is spiritual, psychological. It's called Asa Sankat, the crisis of faith.
And that's not just about God, is it?
No, not at all. It's a systemic lack of faith in ideals and ethical principles, even in basic human goodness.
What are the symptoms of this Asa Sankat?
The root causes are all internal: narrow selfishness, sankirna swarthparda, crippling arrogance, excessive indulgence, velasi pravriti, and this consuming fire of lust and attachment, labarmo.
Wow.
And this spiritual quicksand, as it's described, has seeped into the collective consciousness. It's why there's so much breakdown of trust and purpose.
That's a really profound point. If the problem is spiritual corruption, selfishness, attachment, why can't our modern tools fix it? Better laws, more therapy, new tech.
Because, as the source argues, you cannot cure a deep spiritual sickness with a material treatment. A bautik upachar, the crisis is inside the consciousness. So the only solution, according to this tradition, is the descent of Gayatri Mahashakti in the form of Ritambara Prajna.
That truth-bearing wisdom again.
It has to penetrate and purify the collective mind. It's presented as the only real antidote for our time because it goes straight to the root cause, the quality of our intellect.
Okay, so for you, the listener, who's looking for something actionable, let's shift to the practical steps. The source material lays out a really detailed roadmap, the essential rules, or niyam, for this sadhana.
Right.
Let's start with just purity and energy, the basics.
Preparation is everything. You have to sit with a clean body, wear light, loose clothing. The goal is just no physical distraction.
And location.
Location matters. You need a peaceful atmosphere, ideally somewhere in the open air. A garden, a field, a riverbank.
Okay, and the most fascinating rule I thought was about posture. You sit cross-legged, spine straight, but you're explicitly told never to sit directly on the ground.
Yeah.
Why is that one detail, using a mat of grass or leaves, so important?
This goes right back to energy management. The practice generates what's called sharig vidyut, bodily energy, or electricity, really. If you sit right on the earth, that energy just grounds out. It's lost. The mat is an insulator. It makes sure the energy you generate stays in your system, making the whole practice more potent. It's an ancient efficiency protocol.
Amazing. Okay, what about timing and the ritual stuff?
The best time is the Brahma Muhurta, those very early morning hours. But the practice window extends up to 2 hours after sunset. For the setup, you need a mala, a rosary of tulsi or sandalwood.
And the other items, the water and the lamp.
You need a water pot, a kalash, and you light a lamp or some incense to body. They act as witnesses, or zakshi. They represent water and fire, jal and agni. And if you can, you should face the sun, the direction of light.
Minimum count is 108 mantras a day. But the source is so precise about the sound. Your lips, throat, tongue move. But the sound, the Mandukaran, is so low that someone next to you can't quite hear it.
It's like a bridge between a thought and a word.
Beyond those external rules, though, success really depends on the internal stuff.
Absolutely, the internal scaffolding. The sources list 4 essential mental disciplines, the charniyam. This is what turns the energy into actual prajna.
The first one is concentration, chit ekagra. And if your mind wanders, which it will, The instruction is to just bring it back to the image of Gayatri Mata.
Right. The second is deep faith and trust. Shraddha or Vishwas, this is non-negotiable. Skepticism, the text implies, is like a filter. It just blocks the energy.
And the third?
Determination, Dritha. The grit to fight through all the obstacles. Feeling discouraged, getting sick, worldly problems, not seeing results right away.
And the fourth pillar, of course, is consistency, Nirantarta. You have to keep a fixed time and never ever miss a day. Even if you have an emergency, you do it mentally, while walking if you have to. It's all about reinforcing that commitment, that Atma ball.
And the sources are also incredibly practical. They give you workarounds. Manasic jap or mental chanting is allowed if you're sick or traveling or during periods of ritual impurity, like a birth or death in the family, the Sutak period.
And another crucial point on accessibility. It says women are fully entitled to practice, just like men, but during their monthly cycle, they're told to switch to mental chanting without the mala.
Which shows how adaptive it is. The internal dedication is what matters most, more than the external form.
Then there's the lifestyle. It has to be sattvic.
Yeah.
Pure.
And this isn't just about what you eat. It's about ethical hygiene. Avoid anger, envy, laziness. No excessive spices, stale food, meat, intoxicants. And crucially, no food prepared by impure people or acquired unjustly, anedi parajit.
The philosophy seems to be garbage in, garbage out. If your input is corrupt, your output, the prajna, is going to be compromised.
Precisely. It's all about energetic hygiene. The sources even detail these super strict rules for intensive periods, called anushtan. Things like sleeping on the ground, no leather shoes, no haircuts, and a very restricted diet.
So the takeaway for you, the learner, isn't that you have to do all that forever. But if you want the absolute maximum result, you need maximum dedication.
That is the essence. And to wrap up the rules, the tradition gives you two really important bits of encouragement. First, the practice is never fruitless or harmful, nishfal or anisht. Practice fearlessly. Don't worry about getting it wrong.
And the second?
Second, it's considered a serious mistake to practice alone and not encourage your friends, your family, your loved ones to join in. The goal is collective purification, not just solitary game.
So what does this all mean for us today? This deep dive, I think, shows that Gayatri Upasana is fundamentally an exercise in intellectual and spiritual purification. The whole goal is to generate Ritamphara Prajna.
That truth-bearing wisdom.
Exactly. The very quality needed to get through the Asta Sankat, the crisis of faith of our time. It's an internal technology for making better, more ethical decisions.
And if we connect that to the big picture, the sources went into so much detail. The external steps, cleanliness, posture, conserving energy. The internal steps, faith, determination. But what really stands out to me is the absolute necessity of maintaining samyapav.
That unshakable composure.
That profound composure through everything life throws at you. That's the bedrock. That's what keeps the spiritual quicksand from pulling you under.
Which leaves us with a final provocative thought for you to take with you. If the source is right, and the deepest crisis of our age isn't poverty or war, but this internal crisis of faith, driven by selfishness, how would cultivating prajna, that sharp foresight and discernment, change the way you deal with information, manage your energy, and make your big life decisions every single day?